of the tafsir of science never reaches goal.
Whoever's deprived, من حرم الوصول حرم الوصول. Whoever's deprived, whatever science he's studying, he doesn't learn the principles of that science, then usually he's not going to reach the goal, meaning having knowledge of that science.
Of that particular science.
Yeah, whatever science he's studying. If he doesn't study the principles of it, you go into Arabic without studying the principles of Arabic.
Okay.
You're not really going to reach the goal.
Okay, I understand. So that's the foundation. The foundation.
That's not the foundation of fiqh. That's a principle in every science.
Okay.
It's not a foundation, but it's a principle. And not a fiqh. That's a general principle. That's in Arabic, tafsir, hadith,
Oh, okay.
any science you want to study. If you don't learn the principles, right now, what we doing tonight, ya ikhwan? We're doing hadith. Right. So we don't study the principles of hadith before we study hadith. If you never study the principles, no matter how strong you get, you're usually never going to reach your goal. Meaning having complete knowledge of that science.
Okay.
Without the principles of it. No.
Excuse me, bro.
Okay.
Father Sheikh, how's everything?
I had a question. Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you.
How you been?
Alhamdulillah.
Brother, I had a question.
Inshallah.
So what are the rules with saying wallahi?
What's the rules of saying
Wallahi.
wallahi?
Yeah, let's say like okay, I'm just curious, 'cause like let's say one time, let's say you did something, it was a sin, then you ask Allah for forgiveness.
No.
Okay, and you say wallahi, I will not do it again. But then let's say you slipped up again, what would you do after that?
Number one, it's not correct to swear that you're not going to do something in the future. Because al-mustaqbal bayna yaday Allah ta'ala. The issues of the future are between the hands of Allah. You can swear all night long and make a covenant all night long. You're not going to do this, and by Allah, I'm not going to do that. And then tomorrow you do it. That's out of your control. Number one, it's better not to ever swear. It's better.
Better not to ever.
Because the Muslim is commanded to be truthful. So I don't have to swear to be truthful because I'm commanded to be truthful already. So it's more honorable not to swear. But sometimes you may swear to strengthen what you're saying. You want to show emphasis that I didn't do such and such, or I did do such and such. So you swear that you did it, or you swear that you didn't do it. But you're supposed to be truthful anyway.
So just
So it's
treat
better
it lightly.
not to swear.
Okay, I got you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Wallahu a'lam. That's better. بسم الله والحمد لله الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تمسك بسنته بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending the salutations upon the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam, and upon his family and his companions, and upon all those who follow, upon his guidance, and to the establishment of the last day. To proceed, ya ikhwan, Allahumma inna na'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa' wa min qalbin la yakhsha' wa min nafsin la tashba' wa min du'a'in la yusma'. Verily, Allah, we seek refuge with you from knowledge that has no benefit, and from a heart that has no fear, and from a soul that has no satisfaction nor contentment, and from a dua that goes unanswered, To proceed, ya ikhwan, فنواصل معكم في هذه الليلة المباركة الكريمة عونا من الرحمن الرحيم. We continue in this blessed and noble night of ours, seeking the aid and the assistance of our Lord, the most merciful and the most compassionate. في علم مصطلح الحديث. As we continue to learn from the science of al-hadith. تعلمنا عدة أسماء لهذا العلم فمن يذكرنا بها. فمن يذكرنا بها. We learned a few different names of this science. Mustalah al-Hadith. So who can mention to us another name of this science? What else can you call it? What else can you call it? عندما هذا عندما. Who can answer? Usul al-Hadith. You can say Mustalah al-Hadith, Usul al-Hadith. وما هو? And what else? And you can also say علم الحديث. كثير من الأسماء بنفس المعنى. So there are many words that have the same meaning. This science of al-Hadith, you can call it علم الحديث, you can call it مصطلح al-Hadith, and you can call it أصول al-Hadith. نفس المعنى. They all have the same meaning. The principles of hadith, or you can say the sciences of hadith, or the knowledge of hadith. طيب ما اسم الكتاب اخترناه في هذا الدرس؟ من يذكرنا به? What's the name of the book that we have chosen to go over in this class? The science of hadith. اليوم تفسير. غيرنا الدرس. We changed the class قبل أسبوع, last week. So not principles of tafsir. هذا غدا. That's tomorrow. Now we're going over the منظومة of al-Bayquni, which is called al-Bayquuniyyah. al-Bayquuniyyah. طيب. وصلنا إلى أي نوع? We have arrived at what type of hadith? انتهينا بصحيح وانتهينا بالحسن. أظن صح. We completed يا إخوان the science or طيب the hadith that is called al-Sahih. And we also learned the hadith that is called al-Hasan. Right? فمن يذكرنا بمعنى الحديث الصحيح? Who can give us the meaning of the hadith that is sahih? من لا يعلم تعريف صحيح? Who does not know the meaning of the sahih hadith? كلكم حافظون. واحد اثنان. من نسائنا وبناتنا? Who from our sisters لا تعلم تعريف الحديث الصحيح? Who doesn't know the meaning of the hadith that is called sahih? From our sisters, our daughters. كلكم, all of you know it. Inshallah. One of our sisters. لا تستحيون يا اخوان. هذا حرام في هذا المجال. Don't be shy يا اخوان. It's not allowed to be shy عندما نطلب العلم while we're seeking knowledge. إذا نعلم أو لا نعلم لا نستحي. If we know or we don't know, we're not shy. كلنا نطلب العلم. All of us are seeking knowledge. All of us are seeking knowledge. فإذا تعلم نقول أنا أعلم. If you know, then say I know. إذا لا تعلم لا تستحي أبدا أن تقول أنا لا أدري. If you don't know, don't ever be shy to say I don't know. الملائكة ما كانوا يستحيون والنبي ما كان يستحيي. هذا ليس من هيئة طالب العلم أبدا. The angels were not shy when they were asked a question they didn't know. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ was not shy when he was asked a question he didn't know. It's not correct for the student of knowledge to be shy. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. وَلَوْ يَنْظُرُ إِلَيْكَ بَقِيَّةُ الطُّلَّابِ. Even if the rest of the students are looking at you. وَلَوْ يَقُولُونَ عَنْكَ مَاذَا يَقُولُونَ عَنْكَ لَا تَسْتَحِي. Even if the people are looking at you and they say whatever they say about you, still don't be shy. هذا بينهم وبين ربهم. That's between them and their Lord. طيب. وفي هذا الدرس نشجع ولا نضحك. In our classes, ya ikhwan, we encourage and we don't criticize. We don't laugh at one another. لا. كلنا إخوة والأخوات. All of us are brothers and sisters, ya ikhwan. كم مرة سمعنا أنا قائلا أنا لا أعلم. الله أعلم. الله أعلم. لا أدري. How many times you heard me say, ya ikhwan, I don't know. Allah knows best. Never heard of that. ما عندي proof. Or ما عندي دليل. ما عندي proof. ما عندي دليل. طيب فلا تستحي أبدا. Don't be shy يا إخوان. تفضل.
What was the third name you said? You said there was
the third name of the science of hadith.
There was usul ilm.
usul al-hadith.
Usul al-hadith. Ilm al-hadith.
Ilm al-hadith. Mustalah al-hadith. Three names. usul al-hadith, ilm al-hadith, mustalah al-hadith. في هذا الدرس لا نتكلم لا نحفظ كثيرا من أقوال النبي. لا. لا نركز على هذا في هذا الدرس في هذه الليلة. Tonight's class on what day يا إخوان؟ يوم الاثنين, on Tuesdays. We're not memorizing the hadith of the Messenger of Allah. Not a lot. We're not focusing on his words, alayhi salatu wasalam, in tonight's class. That's yesterday. Tonight we're doing what? What are we doing in the science of hadith class? What are we studying?
The differences.
The differences of what?
All three.
All three of what?
Trains.
Hey, the types of hadith, the categories of hadith.
Yeah.
We're not memorizing. ما أعطيكم حديثا كثيرا قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى. لا. We're not memorizing the hadith. Tonight we're not memorizing. The Messenger of Allah said all actions are based upon intentions and everyone will have whatever he intends. No. We're going over ما معنى صحيح, ما معنى الحسن, ما معنى المنقطع, ما معنى الموضوع, ما معنى المرسل. Tonight's class, Tuesday's class, we're not memorizing hadith. We're learning the difference of the types of hadith. What does it mean when Bukhari says sahih? What does it mean when we hear hasan? What does it mean when we say mursal? So tonight we're learning the science of hadith, not the words of the Messenger of Allah, not his hadith. We're not memorizing. That's not tonight's class. هذا مفهوم يا إخوان? You guys understand that? من لا يفهم? Who doesn't understand? Oh, our beloved Shaykh, رجع إلينا. Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless you. Who from our daughters don't understand? We're not studying the hadith, we're studying the types of hadith. من يريد أن يقرأ بداية المتن? Who wants to recite the beginning of the book? Inshallah ta'ala, برفع الصوت, with a loud voice. تفضل.
أبدأ بالحمد مصليا على محمد خير نبي أرسل وذي من أقسام الحديث عدة وكل واحد أتى وحده أولها الصحيح وهو ما اتصل إسناده ولم يشد أو يعل يرويه عدل ضابط عن مثله معتمد في ضبطه ونقله والحسن المعروف طرقا وغدت رجاله لا كالصحيح اشتهرت وكل ما عن رتبة الحسن قصر فهو الضعيف وهو أقسام كثر وما أضيف للنبي المرفوع وما لتابع هو المقطوع.
أحسنت. جميلا. ومن أيضا who was memorized وأراد أن يقرأ and wants to recite? تفضل.
أبدأ بالحمد مصليا على محمد خير نبي أرسل وذي من أقسام الحديث عدة وكل واحد أتى وحده أولها الصحيح وهو متصل إسناده ولم يشد أو يعل يرويه عدل ضابط عن مثله معتمد في ضبطه ونقله والحسن المعروف طرقا وغدت رجاله لا كالصحيح اشتهرت وكل ما عن رتبة الحسن قصر فهو الضعيف وهو أقسام الكفر.
ما شاء الله. أحسنت. ومن أيضا من رجالنا who from us from other brothers? تفضل.
قال الناظم رحمه الله أبدأ بالحمد مصليا على محمد خير نبي أرسلا وذي من أقسام الحديث عدة وكل واحد أتى وحده أولها الصحيح وهو ما اتصل إسناده ولم يشذ أو يعل يرويه عدل ضابط عن مثله معتمد في ضبطه ونقله والحسن المعروف طرقا وغدت رجاله لك الصحيح اشتهرت وكل ما عن رتبة الحسن قصر فهو الضعيف وهو أقسام كثر.
أحسنت جميلا يا شيخ. بارك الله فينا وفيكم. May Allah bless us and you. May Allah bless you and us. من بين بناتنا who from our beloved daughters, our sisters, تريد أن تقرأ, who wants to recite? ما شاء الله. ومن بعدها? Anyone else from our beloved daughters, our beloved sisters? واحدة فقط, only one of you. لعلكن سافرتن. Perhaps your sisters traveled this week. لا بأس. طيب. تريد؟ طيب. قال الإمام رحمه الله تعالى: أبدأ بالحمد مصليا على محمد خير نبي أرسلا وذي من أقسام الحديث عدة وكل واحد نتا وحدا أولها الصحيح وهو متصل إسناده ولم يشذ أو يعل يرويه عدل ضابط عن مثله معتمد في ضبطه ونقله والحسن المعروف طرقا وغدت رجاله لا كالصحيح اشتهرت وكل مع رتبة الحسن قصر فهو ضعيف فهو أقسام كثر. فهو ضعيف فهو أقسام كثر.
فهو الضعيف وهو أقسام.
طيب, our beloved brothers reminding us of two pronunciations. وقلنا هذا لكم قبل. And we mentioned this to you before يا إخوان. في بعض النسخ اختلافان. And some of the printings, we mentioned this yesterday يا إخوان, نرى اختلافا أحيانا. ولا بأس بهذا إن شاء الله تعالى. Sometimes in different books, different printings, different publications, you may find some slight wordings. In the
I'm still learning my Arabic, but what are the names of the three hadiths?
The three hadiths. طيب. صحيح.
Sahih.
حسن. ضعيف. صحيح. حسن. ضعيف. صحيح. حسن. ضعيف. طيب. In some of the printings, there's a slight variation in some of the wordings. For example, in two of the lines, some printings have وَهُوَ. Some printings have وَهُوَ. الصحيح وَهُوَ. لكن وَهُوَ يوجد في بعض النسخ. The correct position is وَهُوَ. But وَهُوَ comes in some of the printings. So no problem. If you memorize it, وَهُوَ, and then the second line, وَهُوَ, or وَهُوَ, and then you say again, فَهُوَ, no problem. But the origin, it should be وَهُوَ, فَهُوَ. But as we mentioned, some printings have فَهُوَ, some have فَهُوَ. No.
Is this according to like different dialects?
Different dialects, and also the rhythm of the manduma, of the line of poetry. But the meaning doesn't change. You can say huwa, and you can say wahwa, for example, in some of the dialects of the Arabic language. No.
So what exactly is the meaning of the sahih?
طيب. Sahih means, or we translate to mean authentic.
Okay.
But it has a meaning. طيب. Who can give us the meaning of sahih? Not the translation. What is sahih? What is authentic? What's the meaning of the hadith that is authentic? It has some conditions. توجد أن يكون حديثا صحيحا أن يتوفى بعض الشروط. For the hadith to be sahih, it has to have some conditions met. For a servant to be a Muslim, he has to believe in some things. إذا لا يعتقد بها لا يكون مسلما. مهما كان يسمي نفسه. Whatever the servant calls himself, there's some things he has to believe in. Some things she has to believe in. If he does not believe them, she does not believe them, they're not Muslims. We're not Muslims. ونعوذ بالله. طيب. ويوجد بعض الأعمال يجب علينا أن نفعلها. إذا نفعلها فنحن من المسلمين. إذا لا نفعلها نحن لسنا من المسلمين. ونعوذ بالله. Likewise in actions. There's some actions the servant has to do to be a Muslim. If he does them, he's a Muslim. If she does not do them, she's not a Muslim. No matter what they call themselves. What's an example of something you have to believe in as a Muslim? النبي. على جميع من يشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله أن يعتقدوا بمحمد نبيا. Every servant who testifies that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah has to believe in Muhammad. Is that sufficient? To believe in him? That's not sufficient. What else do you have to believe? Regards to Muhammad. Is it suffice to believe that Muhammad is Muhammad? You have to follow him. Is that enough to follow him?
He's the last prophet.
You have to believe that he's a prophet. It's not enough to believe that he's Muhammad. هذا لا يكفي. That's not sufficient. You have to believe that Muhammadan Nabiyan wa Rasulan. You have to believe that Muhammad is the prophet of Allah and his messenger. Is that enough to believe he's a prophet and a messenger?
No.
The answer is no. What else you have to believe? He is the last prophet and messenger. وكل هذه يا أخوان يدل على أهمية الاعتقاد العقيدة. And all of this shows the importance of belief. Having the strong belief in Allah. What's something else you have to believe in to be a Muslim? Where is Allah? And Allah Ta'ala على العرش استوى. He is above his arsh. طيب إذا العبد لا يعتقد بهذا لا يكون مسلما. إذا عنده علم إذا عنده جهل فعليه أن يعلم. عليه أن يعلم. If the person does not believe Allah is above his heavens, Allah is above the arsh, if the person does not believe that, and he's not ignorant, say he's ignorant, then he should be taught. He's a blind follower, he should be taught. His father taught him that, he should be taught. At any rate, he does not believe Allah is above the arsh. He believes Allah is on the earth. He believes Allah Ta'ala fi kulli makan. Wa na'udhu billah. He believes Allah is everywhere. You hear that a lot? There's some groups of Islam لا يعتقدوا أن الله تعالى فوق العرش. They don't believe Allah is above the arsh. يعتقدون أن الله تعالى معنا على الأرض. ونعوذ بالله. They believe Allah is with us upon the arsh. Al-Mu'tazila. They used to believe Allah is not above. Allah is on the earth. They used to believe you can't say Allah is above. What's something else that you have to believe in to be a Muslim? The Quran. هل يكفي أن يؤمن العبد بالقرآن? Is it sufficient to believe in the Quran? Trick question. لا تستعجلوا. Don't rush. Is it suffice to believe in the Quran?
Yes.
Only like that? I believe in the Quran. That's it? The answer is no. Regarding the Quran.
All other books that you
Hey, you have to believe it's what? The book of Allah. The speech of Allah.
Speech of Allah.
Is it sufficient to believe it's the speech of Allah? Huh? We need more Aqidah classes, yeah, fine. طيب. We're about to put every class away and do all classes of Aqidah, inshallah. هذا هم شيء. That's the most important, يا إخوان. طيب. هل يكفي إذا العبد يعتقد أو يؤمن بالقرآن? Is it suffice? Let's start again. Is it sufficient that the servant believes in the Quran? That's it? Talking about the Quran. Not suffice. What does he have to believe? One of our sisters said it. It's the what? Speech of Allah. إذا العبد لا يعتقد أن القرآن كلام الله لا يكون مسلما. If the servant does not believe the Quran is Allah's words, he's not a Muslim yet. You have to believe it's Allah's words. Allah spoke it. Is that suffice? There's something else. It's sent down. طيب. We'll save that one. طيب. Something else about the speech.
That is not created.
Is not created. إذا العبد لا يعتقد أن القرآن ليس مخلوقا وليس مسلما. If the servant does not believe that the speech of Allah is not created, he's not a Muslim yet. هذا لماذا عذب الإمام أحمد رحمه الله. This is why the great Imam Ahmad was punished and whipped and whipped and whipped. Why did he stand up for Islam? What did he do? What was he defending? The belief about Islam. The belief. وكان وحيدا وكان معه محمد بن نوح رحمه الله تعالى لكن مات محمد بن نوح رحمه الله تعالى توفي. And Imam Ahmad was almost single-handedly alone. There was another scholar with him, his companion Muhammad ibn Nuh, who also stood firm, but he died. He was hit with some bricks and some rocks traveling to the prison, and he died. Imam Ahmad almost single-handedly at that time stood firm for Islam, almost by himself. وَكَانَ جَائِزًا لَهُ أَنْ يَقُولُ كَمَا يُرِيدُونَهُمْ أَنْ يَقُولَ. And it was allowed for him to confess and say what they wanted him to say. It's allowed to lie in certain circumstances. If you're afraid for your life, someone comes in here right now and says, hey, if you don't say you're a Muslim, I'm going to take your life. And if we have low iman, you say, I don't believe in Islam no longer. You're still Muslim. Still Muslim. It's allowed to lie to save your life. It's allowed to eat pork to save your life. The man is traveling, وَمَا عِنْدَهُ طَعَامٌ وَهُوَ عَلَى بَابِ الْمَوْتِ, and he's on the door of death. وَمَا عِنْدَهُ إِلَّا هَذَا hot dog من هذا الhot dog من لحم الخنزير, and all he has is this hot dog from the pig. Is it haram for him to eat that meat at this moment? He's about to die.
No.
The answer is no. He can eat it. Some scholars say, وَهُوَ صَحِيح يَجِبُ عَلَيْهِ أَكْلُهُ, it's obligatory upon him to eat it. But it's pork, yes, because you can't kill yourself. It's not allowed to throw yourself to destruction. Follow.
What if somebody, like you said, is pointing a gun at you or something? And they say, like, disbelieve in Allah. Would it be haram to say no?
No. It will be allowed to say no. هذا جائز يا إخواني إذا العبد خائفا على نفسه أن يكذب.
No. Would it be haram for you to, like, not listen to him and die?
The opposite. No, that wouldn't be haram either. If the man wants to stand firm on Islam, I believe in Allah, and then the man kills him, هذا الأولى, that would be better. Wallahu a'lam. But say his iman is not as strong. That was Imam Ahmed. There were other scholars in his time. So much so, Imam Ahmed didn't talk to them for a long time. Yahya ibn Sa'id كان موجودا رحمه الله تعالى. Yahya ibn Sa'id was there. He was a contemporary of Imam Ahmed. And he wasn't as strong as Imam Ahmed. When they came to him and said, is the Quran created? He said yes. Out of fear. He didn't do nothing wrong. But he wasn't as strong as Imam Ahmed. Imam Ahmed stood firm. Defending the belief of Islam. That's why he was beat. You go back and read his biography, you're going to shed tears. Almost single-handedly. Almost. He didn't take nothing from the rulers. Nothing. Not their gifts, not their wealth, nothing from them. And they beat him, and beat him, and beat him. And he stood for trial. And he used to ask them, why am I here? I believe in Allah. I believe in the Messenger. I follow the Sunnah. Why am I here? Why are you trying me? Why? And he had the correct belief. And he stood firm, ya ikhwan. He stood firm. And this is a principle of seeking knowledge. One of a correct niyyah while you're seeking knowledge is al-mudafa'atu an al-Islam. Is that you intend to defend Islam. With your memorization of the Quran, your memorization of the Hadith, you're studying usul Hadith, you're studying tafsir, you're studying the Arabic language, you're studying al-fiqh, that you intend to defend Islam. When there's people on the YouTube, and the Facebook, and the Hip-Hop, and the TikTok, and Instagram, and this and that, if we can stop taking pictures of our food, and the brothers also, and defend Islam, that's a tremendous intention here. Follow. What's your name again, ya akhi? Yusuf, mashallah. Who was Yusuf in Islam? You know Yusuf in Islam?
Yusuf alayhi salam.
And the Prophet of Allah. I said, Fadl.
I had a question. So, intention is everything.
Intention is not everything.
No.
بعض المسلمين يقولون هذا يا إخوان النية كل شيء. هذا خطأ. Some Muslims you hear they say the intention is all that matters. Intention is everything. The correct is that intention is not everything. وهو مهم. قد تكون النية نصف كل شيء. You can say intention is half of everything, but not everything. العبد ينوي خيرا ويقع في الشر. A man can intend to do something good and fall into something evil. A man can intend to do something good and his action still not be accepted. A man can intend to do something good and fall into riyah, showing off. So we say the niyyah nisfu kulli shay. The intention is half of everything. No.
Okay. So, let's say it's me as a revert. But how would you balance? Because let's say for someone who's going to die and it's allowed for them to eat pork. In Islam, is most important to respect your parents. Let's say your parents are still Kafirs and they still promote a lifestyle that is not of the Sunnah. How would you be able to balance that?
You try your best يا إخوان أن تضع الله تعالى فوق كل شيء ولو أمام أبيك وأمك وبقية عائلتك. You try your best to put Islam, to put Allah first and foremost at the head of everything. You try your best, even in front of your parents, your mother, your father, and the remaining of your family members, your best friends. You try your best to put Islam first. إذا الأم تأمرك بالشيء في داخل الإسلام تطيع أمك. If your mother, even if she's a non-Muslim, commands you to do something that does not oppose Islam, then obey your mother. إذا الأب يأمرك بشيء في داخل الإسلام أطيع أباك. If your father commands you to do something that's inside of Islam, then obey your father. والعكس بالعكس. Likewise the opposite. ما معنى هذا? What do we mean the opposite?
If they command you to do something that's haram, you're not supposed to do it.
Hey, your mother commands you to do something that contradicts Islam, or your father contradicts Islam, then you don't obey them. So, with issues of pork, what I try to do with my own ummi, وهي نصرانية, Allah يهديها ويانا, and my mother is still Christian, and may Allah guide her and all of us. وهي الوحيدة التي أنا أبدل مكاني لمكانها أمي. And my mother is the only place that I would trade places with, is my أبي يمكن, no, maybe. أمي ما شاء الله تعالى. أقول أمي وأبي ولا غيرهما. Only my mother and my father. إذا أدخلني الله تعالى جنة وأدخل الأمي في النار أبدل مكاني لمكان أمي. وكذلك للأب أبدل مكاني لمكان الأب. If Allah Ta'ala, we hope, allows us to enter to the Jannah and He throws my mother into the hellfire, I would trade places with my mother. Likewise my Abi. And they're the only two that I would trade places with you. Likewise the ayah, on the day the man is going to flee away from his mother and his brother and his father and his wife also, and all of the people of the earth, his whole family. If I'm allowed to trade, I will ask Allah for permission to trade. If I'm allowed. What I try to do with my mother, هي لا تؤمن بكتاب الله. She doesn't believe in the Quran. أنا أتيتها بالقرآن. هي تقول هذا كتابك. أنا لا أعتقد أن هذا من عند الله تعالى. فماذا أقول? I come to her with the Quran. Allah says, Allah says, Allah says. She says, I don't believe that's Allah's words. I don't believe in the Quran. So what do I have to do sometimes? علي أن آتي بدليل من كتابها هي. وهذا ليس من السنة. صح. لكن قد يكون من حكمة. So what do I do? She doesn't believe in the Quran. I give her hadith. She doesn't believe that Muhammad ﷺ is the prophet. So I'm wasting my breath. She doesn't believe in the Quran. So what do I do? Now I try to memorize proofs from her holy book. I don't believe the Bible is intact. I don't believe that the Bible is safe from error. I don't believe that. But she does. Okay. So I go into her holy book and I memorize when Jesus is talking. Isa is talking. And I give her the proofs, for example. So we hope that one day that she accepts Islam. You try your best also, ya ikhwan. Read the Bible with your mother. If she allows you to read the Quran with her. Ummi, mashallah, listen, let me share a benefit with you. She says, ahlan, ahlan. Then share a benefit with her. Sometimes my mother, she would sit and read. Sometimes she watches our classes, for example. And I try to acknowledge her and tell her this and tell her that. Likewise, my little sisters, not Muslim yet. Alhamdulillah. So we try our best. There are things that we should do more. One, myself included, is give da'wah to our family. We should have a table at these closed stores. One day we're going to get a table maybe in the summer, and we're going to set up a da'wah place, and we're going to go in front of this gas station or one of these stores and call these people to Islam. That's the sunnah of the Messenger. Myself, I don't do that as much. I don't talk to my family as much about Islam. And may Allah teach us all. One of our sisters, let's get back to the class. What happened if somebody does what to their intention?
The right intention would be to do it for Allah, and then the other intention would be probably just to put it on an application to get somewhere. And they try their best to have the right intention, but it's hard for them to kind of, I guess, shy away from the other one.
No.
What do you say?
All you can do is try your best to fill out to the best of your ability and fight your desires, fight your nafs, fight your soul. You have what's called mujahadatu nafs, where you fight against your soul. أحيانا هذه المرأة ما شاء الله وهي جميلة وأنت تريد أن تنظر في داخل النفس عليك المجاهدة النفس. Sometimes even as a man, You're a man, inshallah, we're men. The woman, she's walking, mashallah. You see her there, and you're trying your best not to look. You're trying your best to fight yourself. Like we do push-ups sometimes in the masjid. You're doing push-ups inside of your soul, not to look there. That's haram, ya akhi. Taqillah. Allah ta'ala yandur ilayk. Allah yasma'. So you try to have the mujahadatul nafs. Likewise, the issues of your intention. Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah ta'ala كان يقول هذا أصعب شيء معالجة النفس أو معالجة النية. He said that's the most hardest thing I had to deal with. He said I was poor. He was really poor. Sufyan al-Thawri, the great Imam of Hadith. He said I was patient with the dunya. I was patient with poverty. I was patient with this. The hardest thing for me to fight was having a good intention. The sister at the food drive, and she's doing it for Allah, and then her desires come. Some shaitan comes, some whispers comes. What does she do? Stop doing her food drive? No. She tries to fight her intention, tries to fight her soul, and make sure she's doing it for Allah. Sometimes you have to not accept anything from the people, like Al-Imam Ahmed. Out of fear, you're not saying that it's haram to take something. One brother says, why don't you charge for your classes? You teach online and you do this and that. Why don't you charge? Everybody charges. Why don't you charge? And you say, out of fear that it will change my intention. Out of fear. It's allowed. Some scholars say it's allowed to charge for different sciences. Some say it's not. At any rate, out of fear is going to change your intention. إذا أقول لكم إن شاء الله تعالى أنتم تمشون إلى food drive وتوزعون طعاما لكل شخص محتاج إلى طعام أعطيكم $100 في كل يوم. I say to you guys, join the sisters there, go to the food drive and distribute food to everyone who's in need of food. Every weekend you do that, I'll give you $100. All the brothers are going to sign. Hey, where I sign my name, ya akhi, mashallah ta'ala, أحتاج إلى هذا $100. I need that money. Where I sign up? طيب. First weekend he goes, $100. Second weekend goes, $100. It's fearful that he's only doing it to get the money. You say to the brothers, every time you call their van, I'll give you $5. $5? Yes. 5 salawat, 5 salah, fi kulli yawm? Yes. That's 5. 20, 15, 10, 15, 20, $25 in a day? Yes. From calling their then? Yes. Now, it's fear. He's only calling their then to get the money. It's allowed. You have a wife, you have a daughter, you have a husband. You say, hey, لكل سورة, لكل حديث حفظت أعطيك هدية. هذا جائز. You say to your beloved wife, the wife to her husband, you to your child, hey, every surah you memorize, I'll give you a gift. That's allowed. So now the sister, mashallah ta'ala, every day you come home, alif lam mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ, every day. She's done Baqarah. Mashallah, hati hadiyati, give me my gift. We go to the Somali mall, get her something she likes. Alhamdulillah, Ali Imran, she's memorizing, give me my gift. Next surah, tayyib. Now it looks like she's only doing it for the gift. So many scholars say it's better not to do so, because there's a chance the person can make the taqyirun niyyah, their intention can change. Their intention can change. Even recording. I never used to record ourselves in class. Never. If you missed it, you missed it. Then one brother said, or sister said, there was a sister in my city, real strong sister, mashallah. She used to come to every class. And she's about to have a baby. And she said, listen, I don't want to miss the classes, but I'm due any day. Is there any way I can participate? So we learned about some of the apps and the telephone links and the likes. At any rate, out of fear, your intention may change. So it's allowed. Regarding the intention, I would say to that sister, that brother, don't stop doing the good, but fight yourself. Make sure you're doing it for Allah. Even if you don't receive some of the issues of the dunya, maybe you don't get the gifts, you don't get the money, you don't get this and this and this, to make sure your intention is for Allah Ta'ala's sake. But it's allowed to accept the gifts. It's allowed to have another reason, but you do it for Allah Ta'ala's sake. No, that's what I would say. Allah Alam.
What does Allah love more, al-wara or zuhd?
الله أعلم. What does Allah love most? لماذا أقول الله أعلم في مثل هذا السؤال يا إخوان؟ لأن ما عندي دليل على أن الله تعالى يحب هذا أكثر. لأن هذا سؤال الشيخ. Why do we say we don't know? Because I don't know no proof to say Allah loves this more than this. You need proof to say that. نرى أن الله تعالى يحب كلاهما. We know Allah loves both of them. But which one Allah loves more? Allah.
Can you define them?
الولاء والزهد. طيب الزهد يا إخوان ترك ما أحل الله تعالى عليك في هذه الدنيا. What is zuhud? Abstemiousness. الزهد is staying away from those things that are halal for you in the dunya. You stay away from them. For example, وأنت تطلب بهذا الترك أجر الله. And why are you staying away from them? These things are allowed. The man gets a mashallah bed. You go to a nice store here. What's a furniture store you guys got in Kansas City?
Nebraska Furniture Mall.
Say it again.
Nebraska Furniture Mall.
You go to Nebraska Furniture Mall. Best in the city. MashaAllah. نريد أن نشتري سريرا. We want to buy a nice bed. طيب. ثم يقول لا لا أنا أزهد لله. Then he says, no, I'm going to have abstemiousness for Allah. What do you mean, ya akhi? I'm going to sleep on the floor. Sleeping on the bed is allowed or haram? Getting a nice bed is halal or haram? It's halal. Right? I want the pillow top, double pillow. Is that allowed? That's allowed. The man gets the brand new sandals. The best in Somalia, mashallah. There's no sandal like this sandal. The sister gets the best jilbab. There's no jilbab. The best of the Somali mall, the best jilbab created. She says, no, I don't want it. I'm going to leave it off for the sake of Allah. So az-zuhud is ترك ما حل الله تعالى على العبد طالبا أجل الله. As abstemiousness is to leave off those things that are halal, not to leave off that which is haram. That's not zuhud. Zuhud is when you abstain, you stay away from those things that are allowed for you. Allowed for you. Getting a lot of thobes. If I ask all of you to count your thobes when you go home and be truthful, count them. And come back tomorrow, and we're going to ask, inshallah. Likewise, we're not even going to mention the sisters yet. They're going to be counting for days and days and days and days and days and days. The average sister has 100 jalabib. 100. She has 30 for the summer. Why do you need 30 jalabib in the summer? Then she has another 30 for the winter. Another 20, and we're the same. Most of the time, we have more garments than our women, ya ikhwan. That would not be from zuhud. Zuhud is like Umar. Zuhud is like Abu Hurairah. Zuhud is like Abu Ubaidah. Zuhud is like Al-Shafi'i. Zuhud is like Al-Imam Ahmad. Zuhud is like Al-Bukhari. Zuhud is like Aisha, for example. They stayed away from the pomp and the glitter of this dunya. It's allowed to get the Mercedes. It's allowed to get the Lexus. It's allowed. But he says, nah, just give me a Hyundai. Give me a car, I can get to the masjid, I get to work. If I wanted to race somebody on the highway,
Like, what if there's like more value to it? Like,
even if it's more valuable.
Like it's more, like it serves the purpose better.
طيب.
Like $100 cologne that lasts more, or like a $10 cologne that's very cheap, like 50% alcohol.
Why not to get the one in the middle? Is it only $10 or $100?
That's an example.
Sometimes it's like that, ya ikhwan. The brother says, hey, I got the iPhone 11, 12, whatever number we're on now, 16, 15, CSSC, Z Max, Max Pro, no problem. The brother says, just give me a regular Android, and I can do what I got to do on there. The iPhone is how much?
$1,500.
You're ashamed to say that price in the masjid. That's how much it costs. $1,500 for a phone. I'm not saying it's haram. هذا ليس إسلامي. That's not my Islam, ya ikhwan. ما حرمه الله تعالى على المسلمين. Allah doesn't say that's haram. The sister wants to get an iPhone. She's going to say, oh, now I can't get an iPhone. I done saved up. I got my stimulus. I just got paid. I just did my taxes. I've been waiting all year. I didn't want the 14. Now I get the 15. That's allowed, ya ikhwan. But do you need it? Do we need it? No. Even our phones. These are not necessities, ya ikhwan, ever. They're privileges. Even cars. Someone will say, hey, أنا لا أحيا بدون سيارتي يا أخي أعوذ بالله. The brother's going to say, hey, I can't live without my car. No, you can. You just don't think you can. Because of where we live. We don't need all these. These are our privileges, ya ikhwan. These are privileges. Necessities are things you need. بدونها لا تعيش. Necessities are things that without them, you die. That's a necessity. All these other things are privileges. Tfadali.
What does it mean to do something for the sake of Allah? Is it like the work from Allah or the pleasure of Allah or do whatever you do?
But if you say the reward, pleasure, face, all this is the same meaning. If you say to do something for the sake of Allah, or sake is another one. You could say sake, you could say face, you could say the reward of Allah. You could say for Allah, that's another one.
Fear of Allah.
Huh?
Fear of Allah.
Fear of Allah, all them mean the same.
Pleasure of Allah.
Pleasure of Allah, all them mean the same. If you say pleasure, for Allah, fear of Allah, reward of Allah, face of Allah, sake of Allah, they're all the same. You're doing the action. وَأَنْتَ لَا تُرِيدُ شَيْئًا إِلَّا الْأَجْرَ مِنَ اللَّهِ. You're not doing this thing for no other reason except you want Allah's reward. That's it. If this is your intention, that's what it means to do something for Allah. أنت لا تريد شيئا من الناس لا من أمك ولا من أبيك ولا من مسجد ولا من أي شيء لا ومن أي شخص ما يريد الأجر من الله فقط هذا الإخلاص. You're doing whatever you're doing. Not for Ummi, not for Abi, not for your family, not for the masjid, not for the brothers, not for the sisters. No, you're doing it for Allah. If this is your intention only, you're sincere. Now, last point, and then we get back to the class. Yeah,
I was going to say, I would feel like when we have to go, right, we follow, right? So if you go to the extreme of believing halal, and basically haram must be halal for you,
No.
isn't that not what we have?
Close. The halal doesn't mean it's obligatory. What does halal mean? It's allowed. You don't get a reward for doing the halal. We learned that in our Rasul class. You don't get a reward for doing what's halal. You get a reward for doing what's recommended and doing what's obligatory. That's it. If the thing is al-jawaz, if it's allowed, someone write this down, ya ikhwan. لا يستلم لا عبد أجرا بأن يفعل شيئا جائزا. The servant does not get a reward for doing something that's allowed. The servant does not get a reward for doing something that's allowed. العبد لا يؤجر بأن يفعل شيئا جائزا. The servant does not get a reward for doing something that's allowed. What's something that's allowed? Not recommended, not obligatory. Allowed. Buying a car. We go right now to Mercedes, Nissan, whatever, it's up to you, and we buy a car. Do I get a reward for buying a car? The answer is no. It's allowed. Some scholars say, how do you determine what's allowed? فَاعِلُهُ وَتَارِكُهُ سَوَى. The one who does it and the one who does not do it is the same. The one who does it and the one who does not do it, their reward is the same. Getting married, is it allowed?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's recommended.
recommended.
In some cases.
In some cases, let's talk about the asl, the origin.
It's recommended.
Getting married is recommended. In some situations, it can be allowed. طيب. Generally, it's recommended. Do you get a reward for getting married? Yes. It's half your deen. It's half your deen. قال بعض العلماء هذا الحديث ضعيف. Some scholars say that hadith is weak. Other scholars say it's hasan. طيب. Making salah. ما حكمها? What's the ruling? Wajib. Do you get a reward for it? Yes. Everything that's wajib and mustahab, you get a reward. If it's allowed, walking, I sit right now, or I stand. Do I get a reward for that?
No.
You don't get a reward for standing. You're standing, you sit.
Same.
You get a reward for that? The sister has a Pepsi, or I don't know if she has a Pepsi. She has something she's drinking. طيب. She says, she get a reward for that? The answer is no.
She said Bismillah.
She says Bismillah, and she makes her intention. She's drinking to make herself strong as a Muslimah. Now she gets a reward.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You buy a car with the intent to use it to go to the masjid, to frequent the masjid, to, you know, I mean, if you just buy the car, but can the intention bring
Hey, the intention can also change. The man is hot. We playing basketball. My team is winning, mashallah. I only lost a couple of times so far, so. I think I lost. Alhamdulillah, bi Rabbil Shaykh, the best in the masjid. Alhamdulillah, Fustu alayhi. I beat him. Alhamdulillah. And I had on sandals. It was Ramadan. I don't think he was playing that seriously, ya ikhwan. At any rate, I still won. That's all that matters. Like, but I think he was taking it easy, ya ikhwan. At any rate, I think he had on sandals also. So we make it fair, ya ikhwan. So now, we're working out, playing basketball. The man gets hot. What do you do when you get hot? He takes a shower. Do we get a reward for taking a shower here? For cooling off?
No.
The answer is no. He makes his intention, Jumu'ah, to make a ghusl, same action. Make a ghusl for the sake of Allah. Same action. Now he gets a reward. The sister's just shy. So she covers up when she comes outside. Just because she's shy. Does she get a reward for that? She wears the same hijab. Khimar, jilbab, alhamdulillah. Nobody can see her. But she's not doing it for Allah. She's just shy. Culturally, she doesn't like the men to look at her. So when she comes outside, tatahajjab, she covers her body. Does she get a reward for that? Out of shyness? The answer is no. She comes out the next day, covers up for Allah's sake. Following the commandments of Allah. The sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ, same action, now she's rewarded. The brother wears a thobe, culturally. It's my culture in Africa. The people wear thobe. I'm going to follow my culture. So I cover my body culturally. Do I get a reward? No. Now I'm doing it following the sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ. Now he gets a reward. The man grows a beard. Everybody has a beard in America now. The Christians, the Jews, the atheists, everybody has a beard now. Some women have... That's a joke, yeah, fine. That's not a joke. Everybody has a beard now. You turn on the TV, everybody has a beard. The child say, hey, Ummi, Abby, he's Muslim. Why do you say that? He has a beard. No, everybody has a beard now, son. The man grows a beard just to be handsome, to be cute, to follow the norm. Does he get a reward? No. He does so following the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah, ﷺ, he gets a reward. So the intention, we don't say is everything, we say nisfu kulli shay. It's half of everything. So that's what we say zuhud is. Wallahu alam. So let's get back to the class, ya ikhwan. Intahayna bil Hasan. Everyone knows the Sahih? Almost everyone knows the Sahih. We mentioned one condition. The chain has to be complete. Another condition.
Free from shad.
It cannot have shadh. Another condition. The narrators have to have adl. They have to have this. They have to be good Muslims. They have to be just and noble and upright. Something else about the narrators.
Precise.
They have to have dhabt. They have to have good memorization. They have to have accurate memorizations. What else about the chain?
Free from illah.
It can't have illatul qadiha. It can't have a weakness that affects the hadith. If you memorize these, هذه شروط الصحة الحديث. These are the conditions for the hadith to be authentic. طيب الحسن. ما فرق بين الصحيح والحسن? What's the difference between Hasan and Sahih?
It's the same, except that they're a little less accurate.
أحسنت. إذا عرفنا الصحيح عرفنا الحسن سنغير شيئا واحد. If you know Sahih, if you really know it, the chain has to be complete. All of the narrators have to be reliable, dependable, good Muslims. They have to have good memorization, good accuracy. The chain can't have shad, and the chain can't have a weakness that affects the hadith. If you got that down, you know Hasan. Hasan is the same, except when it gets to the narrators, they don't have to have perfect, tremendous accuracy. They have to have good accuracy. They have to have between good and great. You don't have to have great memorizations. The sister gets 91, 92 every test. She gets 5 wrong only. That's Hasan. She has khaful dhabt. Her accuracy is slightly less. The brother, he gets 100, 100, 98, 99, 100, 100. That's Sahih. The other brother, 98, 96, 96, 95, 96, 95. That's khaful dhabt. His accuracy is slightly less.
What makes one's narrator less precise? What do they do with that?
For example, al-ikhtibarat, sometimes in tests, sometimes when they narrate, Sometimes when he narrates, he makes mistakes, but not a lot of mistakes. He makes a few mistakes. Out of 100 hadith, he misquotes 10 of them. That's great. Out of 100, she misquotes 30. That's good. For example, out of 100, he misquotes 70. That's bad. That's not good. So sometimes the narrators, they may be compared what he narrates in comparison to what this other one narrates. He said it's in such and such. He fumbled it and jammed it up. He said it's in such and such. So they compare the narrators. They compare their narrations to one another. You find this here, Ikhwan.
Does age play a factor?
Age may play a factor, yeah, Ikhwan.
Younger kids have better memories than elderly.
No, that does play a major factor. Also, you can memorize from and you can narrate from your notes. So age does play a factor. There was a sheikh from the major scholars of today, the sheikh of all of our shuyukh, Sheikh Muqur rahimahullah ta'ala min bilad al-Yemen. Not our teacher. Some people think since you narrate him a lot, you study with him. He died before I got to the village there, ya ikhwan. أردت أن أدرس عنده لكن قدر الله ما شاء فعل. I really wanted to study with this man in Yemen, but he passed away. He got real sick and died before I got to go to Yemen. طيب. Some people think I study with him because I narrate him a lot, but I never met him. طيب. They say about him, لم يحفظ القرآن. They say about him, he didn't finish the Quran. لكن يرويه بسرعة لأنه كان مشغولا بقراءة القرآن ودراسة القرآن وسمع القرآن لكن لم يحفظ القرآن كاملة والله أعلم. But when you ask him anything, he can recite the Quran to you real quickly. He was really versed in the Quran, but he didn't memorize the whole Quran. If someone's reciting and they make an error, he can quote it, but he can't recite the entire Quran like that. No. But in questions and answers, whatever he's asked, he can say, Naam, قال الله تعالى كذا وكذا وكذا. Next question. قال الله تعالى كذا. You be like, how is the sheikh that fast? Whatever you asked him, he was fast. That's something Allah gave him. But they say about him, he never memorized the whole Quran. But he was diligent in reading the Quran. He used to read the Quran daily. So he knew the Quran. You recite an ayah, he would say that's sorted to such and such. You recite a verse, that's sorted to such and such. But he couldn't recite the whole Quran like that himself. At any rate, some people say about him, he didn't memorize the whole Quran. His daughter, Abdullah al-Wadi'iyah, said my Abi never finished the whole Quran, hifdhan, memorization wise. But he's from the major scholars of our time. So age does play a factor. And he sought knowledge as an elder. Sometimes we're foreigners. I'm never going to learn Arabic, akhi. I'm American. Or I was born in America. Or I'm a non-Arab. I'm never going to learn Arabic. No, you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm elderly. I accepted Islam at this age and this age. How can I be a student of knowledge? You believe in the most merciful. The children are going to out-memorize me. Maybe you're going to out-memorize them. How is that? You believe in Allah. Don't ever give up hope with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Most of the companions were elderly or young? Elderly. Some of the greatest minds that you're ever going to learn about were elderly or young? Elderly. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, one of the greatest minds you're ever going to study about. Who was more afqahu min Abu Bakr as-Siddiq? Who had greater understanding of Islam than Abu Bakr? He was an elder. Umar was an elder. And then there was some of the youth, mashallah, Ali was there, Ibn Umar was there, Aisha was there. Some of the women, mashallah, these sisters are young, mashallah, strong memorizations. These brothers are young, mashallah, strong memorizations. Some of the elders are older, strong memorizations. You believe in Allah. Yes, it plays a factor. Like eating plays a factor. Working out plays a factor. How much sleep you get plays a factor. A lot of things play a factor. How much fear of Allah you have plays the greatest factor. Doesn't matter how young, how much sleep, how many raisins and dates you eat. One brother, I'm going to eat my fish oil, mashallah. I'm trying to get done this Quran. I read a post, somebody said that fish oil helps their brain cells. Maybe that's true. But the fear of Allah is greater than all of that. The sister said, what about greens, spinach? I read about that. Alhamdulillah. But it's something more honorable, ya ikhwan, than all of that. The fear of Allah And it's reminded to myself firstly, ya ikhwan, every time you commit a sin, you ask yourself, how can I be a student of knowledge and I commit this sin? How can I? The true students of knowledge, ya ikhwan, they fall into error, but you can count them on your hand. You can count them. What did Shafi'i say to Imam al-Waqi' when he got advice from him? كان الإمام الشافعي له حافظا قوي. Imam al-Shafi'i was a great memorizer. But شيخه وكيع ibn Jarrah كان أحفظ. But his Shaykh Waqi' was even more memorized. يقال عنه لا يرى أو لا يراه كاتبا شيئا أبدا. They said about Waqi' ibn Jarrah that they never saw him write anything down. إذا سمع حفظه. Whatever he heard, he memorized it. Allahu Akbar. إذا سمع شيء حفظ شيء. Whatever he heard, he was like Bukhari, like Ahmed. Some say greater in memorization. We just don't hear about him today. At any rate, طيب الشافعي إذا قرأ شيئا مرة واحدة حفظه أيضا. الشافعي was similar. If he read something once, he usually had it. His memory was so strong, when he was memorizing books, he would غطى على الصفحة الثانية حتى لا يختلط. When he was reading a book, he would cover the other page so that he wouldn't jam up. If he looked over here, he would put them together because his memory was so strong. If he went to the marketplace, he would cover up his ears because he would memorize the arguments of the people or the music or the lights. For example, his memory was strong, ya ikhwan. So one day, أنتم ستضحكون. You guys are going to laugh, inshallah ta'ala. وَلَا أُضْحِكُكُمْ. I'm not making you laugh, ya ikhwan, but it's a funny narration. كان جالسا. He was sitting down. والمرأة. It's always a mar'a, ya ikhwan. Always a woman. So the woman مشت أمامه أو على جنبه. So the woman passed in front of him or to the side of him. ونظر إلى قدمه. إلى قدمها. ليس إلى وجهها. ليس إلى جسدها. لا. إلى قدمها. So the woman passed by, and Shafi'i looked at her and noticed her foot. Her foot. Not her face. Not like us today. Oh, ya akhi. Not like that. Not like that, ya ikhwan. The brothers are playing basketball. The girl walks past. The game is over. Not like that, ya ikhwan. No. He looked at her foot. And then he noticed, now he had to read the information another time. If he felt something like that from noticing her foot, how much more so us? Whatever we watch on the TV, when we hear stuff we shouldn't be listening to, or we fall into things we shouldn't fall into, we think it doesn't affect our hearts. It affects your hearts, yeah. When you watch TV and watch TV and watch TV and watch TV, it affects you. Next thing you know, you start acting like the people you're watching. Look at the reality shows. Now all of our women want to be like them. All our daughters want to be like them. Look at the men's reality show. We're the same. We're watching the reality shows. Now we're trying to be like them. Same. It affects. Some of the people of America call these TV shows a program for a reason. Don't think that they're ignorant, ya ikhwan. No. They know what they're doing. They're not called a program. They just took a word out the dictionary just to call it something. Some psychologists say they call it a program because it's doing exactly that. It's programming you, for example. That's why it's called a program. At any rate, so we look at what we look at, and then it starts affecting us. Our character, our dress, our speech, our demeanor, everything is changing now because look what we're watching, for example. So he looked at her foot, and then he noticed it affected his memory. So he went to his Shaykh Waqi' ibn Jarrah, who had a tremendous memory also. And he says a piece of poetry after that, Al-Shafi'i kana sha'iran. Imam al-Shafi'i, one of his specialties was he was a scholar of poetry. He was a scholar of the Arabic language, a scholar of Aqidah, a scholar of Tafsir, a scholar of Shi'r, poetry, a scholar of Quran, a scholar of Al-Hadith. He was a scholar in almost every field, but was really strong in Arabic and in poetry. فقال شكوت وكيعا سوء حفظي فارشدني إلى ترك المعاصي فقال إن هذا العلم نور ولا يعطى لعاصي أو كما قال الشافعي رحمه الله. So he said about this occurrence, he went to Waqi' and he asked him for some advice. Imam Waqi' said to him, leave off the sins. That's it. He said, give me some advice to make my memory strong. He said, leave off sins. So Shafi made some poetry about that. He said, شَكَوْتُ وَكِيعًا سُوءَ حِفْظِي فَأَرْشَدَنِي إِلَى تَرْكِ الْمَعَاصِي. He said, one day I complained about the weakness of my memory to Imam al-Waqi', and he guided me to leave off and stop committing sins. فَقَالَ إِنَّ هَذَا الْعِلْمَ نُورٌ. And he said, this knowledge is a light. وَلَا يُعْطَى لِلْعَاصِي. And it won't be given to a sinner. That's tremendous advice here. Not just for Shafi'i, but for all of us who want to one day become big imams, scholars, students of knowledge for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alright, let's get some benefit. Tonight we did a lot of talking in Ikhwan. We didn't do a lot of benefit from the book, inshallah ta'ala. طيب وصلنا إلى, what's the next hadith after Hasan? ضعيف. طيب قال وكل ما عن رتبة طيب وكل ما عن رتبة الحسن قصر فهو الضعيف وهو أقسام كثر. Remember, if you memorize it, فهو لا بأس. It's really فهو. But if you learn it, فهو الضعيف وهو, no problem. Some books have وهو, some books have وهو, some books have فهو, most books have فهو. The origin is فهو, but the meaning is the same. It's just a dialect. So he says in every hadith that is under the level of husn, meaning hasan, qasr, then it's deficient. فهو الضعيف وهو أقسام كثر أو فهو الضعيف وهو أقسام كثر. So it is ضعيف, and it has, or ضعيف has many categories. ماذا نستفيد من هذا? What do we benefit here يا إخوان? أقسام الحديث ثلاثة. There are three categories of hadith. الصحيح, حسن, ضعيف. صحيح, حسن, ضعيف. طيب. Some people translate Sahih to be authentic, Hasan to be accepted, and Da'if to be weak. Hasan doesn't mean accepted. Hasan is more than accepted. For example, I don't know one word for it. You may say good hadith, but every hadith is a good hadith. You can say it's authentic, but with a slight variation, a slight difference between authentic, a little less than authentic, as long as you understand the meaning of it. Da'if, weak. That's a good translation. Most of the hadith, or the categories of hadith, are weak. Most of the categories of hadith are weak. طيب اكتبوا هذا. Write this definition for da'if. Write this definition for da'if. ما تكلمنا عن ضعيف صح? We didn't talk about ضعيف. We did the meaning. We learned the meaning of ضعيف. طيب من يذكرنا بتعريف الضعيف? Who can remind us of the definition of a weak hadith? All of you had that before? We had that before, صح? تفضل.
Every hadith that does not have any of the conditions of the hadith.
MashaAllah, Jamila. You all have that? Right. All of you have each other's contacts there, Ikhwan? If I miss class, I can contact somebody else? You all have that rapport? Inshallah. The sister, you all have that? If Amatullah misses, Khadija can contact her. Hey, what did we do? Where's your notes? You guys have that rapport? Inshallah. At least some of you, Ikhwan, should have that rapport. You all have the masjid's telegram? Inshallah. We'll give you our telegram for the classes also, ya Ikhwan. Most of the time I share them on our links also. So I have my own personal links, and we have the masjid's links also. طيب. So we did da'if. طيب. What else did we learn from da'if, ya Ikhwan? We did the meaning of it?
There's two kinds.
Two kinds of da'if?
Yeah. Small weakness and severe weakness.
Small weakness, severe weakness, mashallah. Right, we did that already. Right. Right. So let's do the next piece of poetry, inshallah ta'ala, for tonight. طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I'll say it, you say it. I'll say it, You say it.
Sheikh, can we call together?
Oh, it's time already? تفضل يا شيخ. يا سلام. It's no time يا إخوان. May Allah help us all يا إخوان. Why do the brothers go outside and call the adhan? Why do the brothers do that?
Animals, jinns.
Whose sunnah is that?
Yeah.
May Allah bless you all.
See, it's two different.
Two different types of weakness. Severe weakness and less weakness.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
Our brother says, may Allah hear your dua and bless your ummi with Islam. Ameen, ameen, ameen. And all of our non-Muslim relatives, ya Allah. تعطيكم مثالا لحديث ضعيف. Let's give an example of the hadith that is weak. Let's give an example of a hadith that is weak. طيب هذا الحديث أصلا هو صحيح. This hadith we're going to give you is authentic originally. لكن this chain هذا السند أعطيكم السند ضعيف. So we're going to give you a hadith that's authentic but has multiple chains. The chain we're going to give you is a weak chain. Right? So the wording is authentic because it comes from other chains. The chain we're going to give you is a weak chain. طيب اكتبوا هذا. Write this down يا إخوان. طيب we have 7 minutes. Let's try our best to finish يا إخوان. قال الإمام أحمد رحمه الله. Imam Ahmed said. Imam Ahmed said. حدثنا Abu Abdul Rahman. Abu Abdul Rahman narrated to us. So two men, Imam Ahmed, we're quoting from him. He said, حدثنا Abu Abdul Rahman. Abu Abdul Rahman narrated to us. حدثنا حيوة ابن شريح. He said, حيوة ابن شريح. حيوة ابن شريح. Now we have three men. حيوة ابن شريح. Ahmed said, Abu Abdul Rahman narrated to him. He said, حيوة ابن شريح narrated to him. أخبرني بكر. Pay attention to this name. بكر ابن عمرو. بكر ابن عمرو. حيوة said, Bakr ibn Amr narrated to me. So how many men? Ahmed said that Abu Abdul Rahman said that Haywa said that Bakr ibn Amr narrated to me. وسمع Abdullah ibn Hubayra. Abdullah ibn Hubayra. he said he heard some Abdullah ibn Hubayra. سمع Abdullah ibn Hubayra يقول, say, سمعت أبا تميم. He said, I heard Abu Tamim, the tabi'i. I heard Abu Tamim. يقول, say, سمعت عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه. He said, I heard Umar ibn al-Khattab say, سمع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول, that he heard the Messenger of Allah say. Umar heard the Messenger of Allah say, لو أنكم تتوكلون على الله, if you were to only place your trust upon Allah, if you were to only place your trust upon Allah, حق توكله, the correct trust upon Him. If you were to only place your trust upon Allah, حق توكله, the correct trust upon Him, لَرَزَقَكَكُمْ كَمَا يَرَزَقُ الطَّيْرَ, then you would have been provided for, or He would have provided for you, just like He provides for the bird. تَقْدُو خِمَاصًا وَتَرُوحُ بِطَانًا, the bird leaves out in the morning with an empty stomach, وَتَرُوحُ بِطَانًا, and he returns with his belly full. هذا الحديث بهذا الإسناد ضعيف. This hadith with this chain is weak. Pay attention to the wording. This hadith with this chain that we mentioned is weak. Who is weak in the chain? Write down this name, ya ikhwan. Bakr ibn Amr. Bakr ibn Amr. هو ضعيف من قبل حفظه. He is weak from the way of his memory. He had a weak memory. So memorize this name, Bakr ibn Amr. If you see him in the chain, you know he makes the hadith weak. It only takes one. You can have reliable, from reliable, from reliable, then a liar, then reliable, then reliable. This makes the hadith weak. Good memory, good memory, good memory, from a bad memory, makes the hadith weak. Why is this hadith authentic though, if it has a weak chain? Who knows? It has another method. You can have one hadith that has multiple reports. You say, the brothers on the black team lost the game. And then a brother comes in, the brothers on the black team lost the game. A brother comes in, the brothers on the black team lost the game. One little child comes in and say, no, the black team won the game. 4 different narrations of the same incident, same hadith. The ones that say the black team now won the game, they all have some weakness in their chain. That little baby came in, his narration was sound, so his hadith is sound. So this hadith is an authentic hadith, but the chain we gave you is weak. It's collected by Imam Ahmad, yes, but it's weak. Who makes it weak? Bakr ibn Amr. Bakr ibn Amr. Last benefit. What's the benefit of memorizing who makes the hadith weak? What's the benefit of that?
To see if he's in the second chain.
In general. Why do we mention what's weak and what's not weak? Who makes the hadith weak? Why is that beneficial?
So we know it's authentic.
So we know what's authentic from what's weak.
Just in case it comes up again.
It can come up again. You're going to read. There's a class we hope to do one day when we learn who's who in the chains of the people of Tafsir and Ibn Kathir's book. So you learn these chains, you automatically know that hadith is weak. Even if you don't even know the hadith. Why? Because I memorized this man. He makes the hadith weak. Like Bakr ibn Amr, memorize that name, ya ikhwan. Whenever you see him, he makes the hadith weak. والله تعالى أعلم وأعلم وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وجزاكم الله خيرا.